Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir! The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ayesa Nosa, reporting for duty, sir! Myself, I find employ as purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the effervescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from the Rasutai, a humble premises in the 2nd District, Curio Korekuta, at your service. His name is Curio and he deals in curiosities. An antique dealer and a soldier? What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios which I make my business. I can't understand a word the old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at Le Carnaval. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets Le Carnaval because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative! The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was the black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir. This man is as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Unsavory memories of the most acerbic afternoon. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. The wicked university cadets, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad daylight. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. Why would you even do that? After I did say hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. Interesting? Very interesting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down and just as I was picking it up, bang! Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's the clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now! As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring the despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict. What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands the right to cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. How did he know? Yeah, how did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to have a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Gulp. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright. This is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now, let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. Cross-examination. What the witnesses saw. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I extolling the virtues of the peculiar fine golden curry of the military gentleman. At that precise moment, the firearm was discharged.
Yes!
So this black uniform university cadet, you're saying that was... I've had just about enough of your sauce, cadet. Who else do you see around here in a black uniform, huh? Well, there's someone standing right next to me who fits that description as well, but... It was you, you little weasel! You unloaded the firearm on that man, from behind his back, and you call yourself a citizen of the great empire of Nippon. You disgust me! What is it, Ryunosuke? I'm not quite sure. It's something that the sergeant just said, but I can't put my finger on it. Something's playing on my mind. In that case, check back over the details of the evidence you've gathered in the court record. And if you find an inconsistency there with what the witness just said, then don't hold back. Present the evidence to the court. Thrust it in the witness's face and make him choke on it. I was on my... I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Listen, Ryunosuke. We know there are lies lurking in these statements. It's time to expose them. I understand that. The question is, how? Like I said before, the key to this is using evidence that you collected. You can examine and present evidence while a witness is giving testimony by pressing E. Go through each witness's statements and the details about each piece of evidence and compare all the facts. Somewhere in there, you will find something that doesn't add up. In other words, an inconsistency. An inconsistency? When you find a statement and a piece of evidence that seem to contradict each other, present your evidence with R and rip the witnesses apart. Just be careful, because if you assert a contradiction that has no basis, you'll be given a penalty. If you're dealt too many penalties, the defense case will fall apart and you'll receive a guilty verdict. So that's it. Peruse the evidence in the court record and find an inconsistency with a witness's statement. Alright, I'll give it a try. You can hear the witness's statements over and over again as many times as you like. So keep your head and be measured in your attack. Good luck, partner. I think I know where this inconsistency is. A photographic paint that shows the victim. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died.
Yes!
Go ahead. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Cousin, what are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant, yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniform varsity cadet fired on English civilian and from the back. The cowardly little weasel. No need to be insulted. Yes, affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah! Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Yesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Yeah. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about.